Hi, everybody. It is 5:55, and we will get started at approximately 6 o'clock. If you could just mute your microphone, we will be with you in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Hey, Stace, I'm on.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike.
Hello.
Hi, Paul. We will get started in about 4 minutes.
Sounds good. Just want to make sure I'm connected.
Yep.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay.
Hi, Scott. We will get started in about 2 minutes.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm like, he was there. I swear I saw him.
Yeah, I went to try to unmute and I couldn't find it and I closed it accidentally.
All right. We will get started in about 1 minute. All right, Mr. Schulte, we'll be running our meeting this evening. I have a few announcements to make first, Mr. Schulte, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay, this is just a reminder that this meeting is being streamed live to YouTube. The direct stream that we use causes a 15 to 20-second delay. If you would like to speak at public expression, we ask that you please call the number now and listen to the meeting from your phone so as to avoid that delay. Upon admittance to the meeting, we will mute your microphone. When it is your turn to speak during public expression, we will unmute you and call on you by using the last 4 digits of your phone number. This will present those delays that I referred to and some feedback that we had gotten at our previous meetings regarding those delays. So again, if you are interested in speaking at public expression, we ask that you call the number now and listen to the meeting on your phone and mute your computer. The number that you would call is area code 646-558-8656. The meeting ID is 876-1275-4377, and the password is 142723. And that's it from me, Mr. Schulte.
Okay. Cool. All right. So we start off the meeting for the September 14th, 2020 school board meeting. Ms. Walsh, can you take a roll call attendance, please?
Walsh here. Hiller,
I'm here. Hiller present.
Markey,
Barkey's here.
Fitzpatrick,
Fitzpatrick, present.
Schulte present, Zanetti present.
Zanetti present.
Okay, all here except for Mr. Green, absent with notice.
Okay, and for the record, that's quorum, and also present as Superintendent Dana Fici, Deputy Superintendent Neil Casaban, Curriculum Director Kara Beal, Special Service Director Stacy Sword, and Director of Technology Supervisor Kevin Hustig, Student Representatives Hannah Dutz and Kara Sanders, Executive Assistant Jackie Miracle. All right, we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Do it like we did last time, I think was a good suggestion from President Green, that maybe someone just take that honor and do the pledge for us. Any volunteers?
This is Hiller. I'll do it.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Hiller.
My
First
pleasure.
item is agenda approval. We have a motion.
I have one change, Mr. Schulte.
Okay.
I just
Thank
want
you.
to make sure you should have the minutes from the regular meeting and then the minutes from the closed session of the August 24th. You should have both of those in your packet.
Trustee Zanetti confirms that. I received both.
And I have that as well.
This is Hiller. Motion to accept the agenda as amended.
Zanetti supports.
All su-
All right, we have a motion by Hiller, supported by Zanetti. Mr. Hiller,
Hiller, yes.
Mr. Zanetti,
Zanetti, yes.
Mr. Barkey,
Barkey, yes.
Ms. Walsh,
Walsh, yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Fitzpatrick, yes.
Schulte, yes. Motion is carried. Okay, next item is approval of the regular minutes from the August 24th, 2020 board meeting.
Fitzpatrick, motion to accept the minutes from the August 24th meeting.
Barkey, support.
Motion from Mr. Fitzpatrick, seconded by Mr. Barkey. Are there any questions? Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Fitzpatrick, yes.
Mr. Barkey,
Barkey, yes.
Mr. Hiller,
Hiller, yes.
Mr. Zanetti,
Zanetti, yes.
Ms. Walsh,
Walsh, yes.
Schulte, yes. Motion is carried. Next would be the motion to approve the minutes of the closed meeting from August 24th, 2020.
Zanetti makes a motion to accept special meeting minutes of August 24th.
Walsh seconds.
We have a motion by Mr. Zanetti, seconded by Ms. Walsh. Are there any questions? Hearing none. Mr. Zanetti,
Zanetti, yes.
Ms. Walsh,
Walsh, yes.
Mr. Barkey,
Barkey, yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Fitzpatrick, yes.
Mr. Hiller,
Hiller, yes.
Schulte, yes. Motion is carried. Next agenda item is correspondence.
Yes, you have 4 items of correspondence in your packet today. The first is a correspondence from a staff member. And then we have 3 correspondence from 3 different parents. So we would need a motion to receive and file.
Make a motion, we receive and file. This is Barkey.
Hiller, seconds.
We have a motion by Mr. Barkey, seconded by Mr. Hiller. Are there any questions? Hearing none. Mr. Barkey,
Barkey, yes.
Mr. Hiller,
Hiller, yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Fitzpatrick, yes.
Mr. Zanetti,
Zanetti, yes.
Ms. Walsh,
Walsh, yes.
Schulte, yes. Motion is carried. Next item is payment of the bills.
Yes, this is Walsh, and I'd like to pay the bills in the following order tonight. General Fund, $976,114.18. Center Programs, $3,369.50. Food Service Fund, $48,148.19. Child Care Fund, $2,080.91. Bond 2018, $104,117.82. And Bond Series 2021, Bond 2020 Series 1, $7,303.
We have a motion from Walsh,
Fitzpatrick, support.
seconded by Mr. Fitzpatrick. Are there any questions on the payment of the bills? Hearing none. Ms. Walsh,
Walsh, yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Fitzpatrick, yes.
Mr. Barkey,
Barkey, yes.
Mr. Hiller,
Hiller, yes.
Mr. Zanetti,
Zanetti, yes.
Mr. Schulte is a yes. Motion is carried. Old business.
There are none.
No old business. New business reports. Our student reps. Welcome back, ladies.
Hello, thank you.
It's nice to hear your voices.
It's good to hear you guys too.
How are you handling the beginning of the new year?
It's good.
Okay.
It's
Good.
going.
Yeah.
So Hannah and I would like to start off with thanking you guys for giving us the opportunity to be student representatives once again. We're so excited yet so sad because this will be our last year because we're seniors.
Yeah. But we don't have much to really report on other than fall sports are a go, so that's exciting. But we wanted to see if you guys had any questions for us with everything that's going on.
Does anybody on the board have a question for the ladies?
How was the first day
It was
with remote learning?
something to get used to. I'm happy I made it to all my classes.
Yeah, it's really different than being in an actual classroom environment, but I really appreciate that a lot of times teachers are trying to make it as normal as possible.
Yeah. They're trying their best to make us as comfortable as possible, which is nice, but it definitely takes a lot longer now with like the classroom and learning.
But you worked out the bump, so to speak, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're starting to like figure it out. I think everybody's starting to figure it out, but we're all still learning new things.
What's the consensus from your peers? Do you think it's the same response that it's working and they're just dealing with it?
Yeah, I think everyone has different views on online learning. Some kids don't like it, some kids love it. I just really think it's personal preference.
Yeah, it depends on the type of student you are, I guess. Like me, I'm definitely somebody who learns off engaging with others. So that's been something I've had to work through because I'm not really able to do that anymore. So it all really just depends on the student you are.
Does anybody else have any more questions?
Yes, this is Trustee Zanetti. I guess the question I'd have for the students is, one of the things that you would do in a previous, life maybe is you get together with your friends to work on homework and do such things like that. Now, are you guys doing that all virtually as well, right? Are you guys using Zoom to communicate with each other at night and talk about lesson plans or go through items like that? And how does that seem to be helping you guys? Like you said, you learn by communicating, right? So
Yeah.
is that an option? Is that an option you guys have tried yet?
Yes, but with the way the schedule is, people have different classes on different days.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have a specific class on Monday, somebody won't have that till Tuesday. So I'm not able to talk about that lesson with that like specific person until they learn about it.
Yeah, in my second hour, Mr. Doherty, he made everyone kind of like he made up groups and you had to get that person's phone number so you can ask them questions and kind of do almost group work, but not really group work. So you have someone to kind of help you out a little bit.
Bounce off things that
Yeah.
maybe you weren't able to ask during class. So you kind of do have that. So how do you feel that works out for you? Does that seem to be like giving you like a dedicated, kind of person to communicate with? Does that seem to be something that we should maybe expand upon across all the classes, or is it cause an issue as it was originally mentioned that, because of the days and the schedules, it may not always be optimal?
I don't know, honestly, because like I feel like a lot of kids want to be comfortable with that. I just really feel like it's just for certain classes, you know?
Right.
But
Okay.
also like all the classes are moving at a different speed too.
Mm-hmm.
Like in my math class with Mr. Beal, we were extremely behind. So in one day we're learning 3 lessons when another class is already taking the test for it. So it's like it's hard to get with others and understand what's going on when you're not there yet.
Okay. No, thank you for the observations very
Mhm.
much.
That helps a lot, ladies.
Yeah. Any other questions you have for us? We're open to like answering them. 'Cause-
Anything, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Great report. Thank you, ladies. We appreciate it. We appreciate you
Thank
taking your time.
Yes,
Cool.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on our agenda is return to learn update. Ms. Fenoweth?
Yes. As has become custom lately, I will be sharing a PowerPoint with you this evening. So if you give me 1 second, I will pull it up here on my screen. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okie doke. All right, so this is a quick update. There's no action that needs to be taken. This is just to kind of give everyone maybe a status of where we are. So if you'll remember at our last meeting, I had a list of things that we needed to do, which were over here on the right-hand side. We started remote for all through September 25th. We currently are still bringing in small groups of kids, whether it be those for IEPs or reading intervention, or some teachers were just bringing kids in to get to see the classroom or get to see some of their peers. So we've been doing that. We have been training staff, developing schedules, and working on safety measures with our staff that are in the building. As you remember, parents had 2 options, currently remote with the option to go in person beginning on September 28th on Monday, or the option to stay virtual for the whole first semester. And the last time that we spoke, we didn't have all those numbers in, but now we do. So for the numbers you'll see here at the elementary, it basically breaks down to we have one teacher that's teaching the in-person section and one virtual, and that would be the same at Pinewood, one in-person and one virtual, and at Westwood, one in-person with two virtuals, which works out to be about 55% of the students choosing virtual learning for the first semester. The percentage is similar at the middle school, and you'll see the numbers broken down there. At 6th grade, we have 104 students in person, in 7th grade, 110 in person, and in 8th grade, 117 in person. At the high school, that the choices for fully virtual drops a bit. You know, I think as the girls mentioned, it's important for high school kids to engage with each other in addition when they're learning some of that difficult content. So you'll see that the numbers of students choosing in person gets larger at the high school. So we have 167 in 9th grade, 143 in 10th, 139 in 11th, and then our 163 in the senior class. And you'll see that percentage-wise, that's our largest. So, you know, I think some of those kids definitely don't want to be missing out on all of the things that happen in their senior year. So more of those kids percentage-wise have chosen to be in person. As I mentioned, we've been having kids come in over the last few weeks. You'll see here in this picture are the students that have signed up for our Learning Village. So they come in every day and participate in their online learning in the computer labs at the elementary. We've also had some meet and greets and some individual therapies based on IEPs. We've had reading days and resource pickups, technologies, resource packs, books, equipment, and a variety of other things. In addition, we have been obviously doing our remote learning. Students and families are getting used to logging in and navigating the system. Our teachers are shifting everything they know about teaching to a virtual environment. And, you know, it's definitely a learning curve for everyone. It's something new, you know, and it definitely will take some time getting used to, even for those that are going to switch to in-person. You know, there are some teachers that are going to be teaching virtually for the entire semester. So that's definitely something that they're working towards. As we move forward, as you know, the governor has made some, signed into law some things that we have to do. So we are going to need to adopt an extended COVID-19 learning plan, which we will bring forward to the board at the next board meeting. And that the governor signed that bill on August 20th. The plan does not replace our previous preparedness and response plan. It's just an additional plan that includes new assurances and sections that mostly cover educational goals, instructional delivery, grading, and access. Whereas our preparedness and response plan was more about the physical things and the safety pieces. So this is more of an instructional piece, where the preparedness and response plan was more of the safety piece. We have to have some educational goals written for all students and subgroups, established no later than tomorrow. And those do not have to be approved by the board. Those are just an administrative function. And I'll show you a sample here in a bit. And then once we get our entire instructional plan in place, it'll be presented to the board for approval on the 28th, and then we have to send that to the ISD no later than October 1st for their approval as well. As we have done in the past, we are working with the county in order to establish a lot of these plans so that we're consistent across the county. We're all going with similar goal patterns as you see here. This is just a sample, but as you know, since we haven't had schools in person since March, it's difficult to come up with some of those growth targets when we haven't had benchmark assessments for those students. So we will be giving some benchmark assessments as required by law. And once we have that information, we will then create a goal that can be assessed by the middle of the 2021 school year. And the district will have an increased number of students meeting their reading as measured on their benchmark assessment in the aggregate for all student groups who have a minimum of 30 students. You know, that's our subgroup. And the increased number of students that will be will be quantified either as a number of students or a percent after we get our fall baseline data. So that was the recommendation that came from the statisticians at the county in order to make it's very difficult to basically throw a dart when we have no idea where the kids are since we haven't seen them since March. So we need to gather this baseline data right away now in the fall. And that once we have that information, we will enter the quantification of those numbers. So those will be for both reading and math, and we are required to do those benchmark assessments K-8. And before I go forward, is there any questions about the extended plan? Okay, and obviously more information will be coming. Go ahead.
Hey, Stacy, it's Mr. Zanetti. So that is due by when again? What was the date it was due to get in?
So we have to
submission?
turn it into the ISD on October 1st.
October 1st. So sometime in the next 2 weeks, we'll review the plan with the board again, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Okay, in the next section of I thought it was important to share with you everything that we have going on with regard to those safety plans and making sure that we're ready to roll when we have basically 50% of our students returning face-to-face on the 28th. So I had asked the principals to give me all of their reopening plans. I didn't want to go specifically through each one individually, but I will give you some of the summary items from them. In the first thing I asked them to tackle was students entering and exiting the building. The main thing to know at the elementary is students are required to wear a mask at all times except for when they're seated at lunch. Hand sanitizer and masks are available at each entrance. That is all the supplies that we have purchased either by the district or that we have been given by the county. As I've mentioned before, County Executive Hackle and his team have been extremely generous and have helped us procure all of those PPE items that we need. Every student and staff member will be given 2 disposable masks each day, and we have gallons upon gallons of hand sanitizer and wipes and all of those things necessary in order to make sure that everything is safe. At the elementary, students are going to enter and exit the building using their individual exterior classroom doors. As you know, most of our, you can see there in the picture, there's a classroom door that leads right to the outside where students can line up right outside the door. And we will continue to offer breakfast in the classroom for those elementary students like we have in the past. At the secondary level, again, students will be required to wear their mask unless they're at all times, unless they're seated for lunch. Hand sanitizer and masks will be available as well. Students will not be allowed in the building until 7 at Tower or 8 at the middle school. And when they do come in, they'll be socially distanced either to the cafeteria, grade level wing, or depending on the building, or they might be able to report early to their classrooms. It depends by each building. Breakfast will be available for WWT students beginning at 7, and the middle school will have their breakfast provided during their advisory time. And similarly to the elementary, we're going to be using as many entrances as we can. At Tower, they're going to be using the atrium doors to enter and exit for some of those classes. And at the middle school, the 6th graders are going to use the main entrance. The 7th graders are going to use door 3, which is the end of the 300 wing over there off of the Tim Hortons parking lot. And the 8th graders are going to use this door here that I've showed, which is door 15 that leads right to the 500 wing. In regard to traffic plans inside the building, at the elementary, halls are going to be dedicated one way or will be divided, as you see in this picture, with some red tape and lots of directional signage. Social distancing floor markers will be placed in all areas where people will line up, like the cafeteria, the main office. All of our drinking fountains will be closed, but there will be water bottle filling stations that will remain open. And the expectations for hallway procedures will be taught and reviewed as part of the PBIS review. Every year at the elementary, we review all of those PBIS expectations, and hand washing and hallway procedures and social distancing will all be reviewed in those lessons. At the secondary level, same thing, the hallways will either, if there isn't an opportunity for it to be one way, it will be marked with a red line down the middle. But for other floors, like you see here, in the wonderfully shiny, thank you to our custodial staff. At the middle school here, you'll see that this is a one-way traffic. So the circle will be one way, and if you come out of this wing, you're going to have to go to the right and go all the way around. Similarly, at Tower, in our stairwells, they're going to be one way up and one way down, depending on the traffic flow for those areas. So those will all be things that will be explained to students when they arrive. Again, the drinking fountains will be closed. The commons in areas where students usually congregate will be cordoned off or closed for the time being. And like I mentioned, the stairs will have, in addition to directional signage, they'll also have some dividers on landings separating the traffic flow to make sure that no one goes up the wrong way. With regard to storage spaces, we often get questions about lockers and things like that. Students at the middle school and the high school will be assigned a locker. Each student will have their own locker, and we're going to try as much as we can, as this picture shows, to use every other locker. And we're only going to allow students to use those before or after school, and sometimes during their designated lunch period. Students in PE classes will have access to the locker room, and we will give them, they will have that available to them. And at the elementary, they'll use their cubbies or their coat hooks. And you'll see here, we even have some new rolling cubbies that for classrooms that don't have those available to them. With regard to the use of restrooms, obviously all students and staff bedrooms will be open during school hours. There's signs on them that limit them to no more than 4 people at a time. The bathrooms will be cleaned and sanitized every 4 hours. Soap and or hand sanitizer will be available in every bathroom. We also have some of these these stickers that remind people to wash their hands for 20 seconds and the proper way to do that. Those signs are hung in all bathrooms already. And then there are some at the middle school and high school where we don't have some of those sinks in classrooms. We have secured some of these portable hand washing stations that have been placed in certain areas of the building in order to increase access for kids. That maybe they just need to wash their hands, but they don't want to go to the restroom. They can just wash their hands right here in the hallway. And then in regard to cafeterias, we have the floors already marked to ensure social distancing while they're waiting in lines. The food will be served in a contactless manner. The food service lines all of them will be operational so that we can spread kids out. Available seating will be marked and social distance, as you see in these pictures. There'll be marks where the piece of papers are. So we'll fit 4 kids at that table. Students will remain seated during the lunch. The cafeteria will be cleaned and sanitized between lunch periods. And again, hand sanitizer stations and our hand washing stations will be placed in the cafeteria in addition to the other ones throughout the building. One of the other questions that we get a lot is for transportation. So you'll see here the buckets that will be placed on each bus. We will have another per adult on the bus that ensures that everyone uses hand sanitizer before entering the bus. The driver and all students will wear face coverings while on the bus. The vehicles will be cleaned and disinfected before and after every route while there are no children on the bus. And weather permitting, we'll keep those windows open while the vehicle is in motion, just to get an increased airflow into the bus itself. Obviously, there are lots more things, but those are the ones I think that most people have the most concerns about. So I just wanted to show you that we're ready and we're excited to have kids back, and so that Hannah can talk to whoever she wants to during class. We're looking forward to having kids back on Monday, September 28th. Are there any questions?
Yeah, this is Scott. This is Hiller.
Yes.
I had a question. You talked about at middle school and high school opening other doors instead of using the main entrance.
Yes.
Are we going to have any other increased security? With we just put in these new entrances at the middle school, so
yes,
security is something that's very important to everyone. So could you just touch on that?
Yes, we work with a company called Securitas that provides us additional security staff, and we have asked them to provide additional folks so that there will be someone in each one of those wings.
Okay, great. Sounds fantastic.
Hi, Stacy. It's Paul again, Zanetti. So that first day we walk back into the building, is that more like an orientation day where everybody starts to understand the processes and procedures about how you move through the building, your requirements as a student to make sure you're practicing safe, safe distancing and using the hygiene products we provided and things like that? So is it basically not going to be an instruction day, do you think, or is it really just like your first hour, kind of like your homeroom will have that conversation?
I think it depends on the building. Each building will do it a little differently. At the middle school, obviously, we have advisory, so that lends itself to that. And obviously at the elementary, each class is just with their own teacher. I know we had also talked about students coming in and doing videos of what some of those procedures look like, so we can share those videos ahead of time with kids while we're learning over the next 2 weeks remotely. So I think it just depends on the building. They were all going to work. When we get all of our plans up and running, each way we run each schedule is a little different by building. And I think that's good because it shows the input that each level has had on their own schedule and plan. So when the principals decide, I know like at the middle school, they'll be using advisory to do some of that, but then the other levels will be doing it individually as well.
Okay, yeah, I do like the idea of the video, potentially if we can pull that off, is, getting those out to the students to kind of watch on their own time, and their parents too, so they all have a kind of an understanding by building expectations from both the district and the student, right?
Yep.
So it's got to be a joint effort for this to work really, really well.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Are there any other questions? All right. Thank you, Stacey. That was very detailed and very much appreciated.
You're welcome.
So that is a report, and no action needs to be taken. Next on the agenda is attorney retainer.
Yes, you have in your packet a request from Stacy Swart and the Special Services Department to put Lusk Albertson's special education services on retainer for us. Lusk Albertson is one of our school attorneys that is very active in the area. They're a member of the Metro Bureau and often provide professional development to administrators and a variety of other things. But they also do a lot specifically with regard to special ed. And as you know, there are lots of rules and laws and nuances that come with special ed. So we are recommending that we put them on retainer specifically for these special education services.
Does that require a motion?
Yes, it does.
Fitzpatrick, this is a motion to accept Lux Alberson as the attorneys for special ed.
Hiller seconds that.
We have a motion by Mr. Fitzpatrick, supported by Hiller. Are there any other questions? Hearing
Mr.
none.
Schulte, yes, this is Mr. Zanetti. What was the term of the contract again? My copy was was it just a 1-year agreement?
It's just 1 year, and they would be added when we do our organizational meeting, when the board approves that.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Okay. Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Mr. Fitzpatrick, yes.
Mr. Hiller?
Hiller, yes.
Mr. Barkey?
Barkey, yes.
Mr. Zanetti?
Zanetti, yes.
Ms. Walsh?
Walsh, yes.
Schulte, yes. Motion's carried. Next is administrator contracts resolution.
Yes, you have in your packet the recommendation to enter into contracts with these administrators that we have in the district. The majority of them will be a 2-year contract, as we always do. It's the current year and 1 year looking forward. And then we have a couple that are still new to us who will be on their 1-year probationary contract, finishing up that year of their probationary contract. So it is my recommendation. You also have a sample of that contract in the back. Once they're approved, we will go through and complete those for each individual administrator. But we ask that you approve those contracts, and then I will work to get those signed by each individual administrator and myself.
I'll make this is Fitzpatrick, make a motion to accept the superintendent.
Walsh supports. Oh, I'm sorry.
I know, I just read the resolution
Thank you.
entering the contract with the administrators.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Fitzpatrick, supported by Ms. Walsh. Are there any questions?
Yeah, one question, Mike, and Stacy. For Kristen's position, what are we doing in adult and community education? We haven't really talked about that a whole lot. So what's the role this year in that position?
Currently, they're learning remotely, so they we have the
So
programs that allows them to do the same thing. So they are.
So they're underway.
Yep, they're off and running already.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other questions? Okay, Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Fitzpatrick, yes.
Ms. Walsh,
Walsh, yes.
Mr. Zanetti,
Zanetti, yes.
Mr. Barkey,
Barkey, yes.
Mr. Hiller,
Hiller, yes.
Schulte, yes. Motion's carried. Next, we have personal items, leaves.
Yes, you have in your packet the request for 4 leaves. One for a family medical leave for a teacher at the elementary, one for a family medical leave for a special ed parapro, one for a personal leave for a special ed parapro, and one for an expanded leave under the Family Medical Leave Act for a kitchen helper.
Motion by Fitzpatrick to accept the leaves as presented.
Support by Zanetti.
We have a motion by Fitzpatrick, supported by Mr. Zanetti. Are there any questions? Seeing none, Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Fitzpatrick, yes.
Zanetti,
Zanetti, yes.
Ms. Walsh,
Walsh, yes.
Mr. Barkey,
Barkey, yes.
Mr. Hiller,
Hiller, yes.
Schulte, yes. Motion carried. Next is always good, new hires.
Yes, we're happy to present you with one new hire this evening, Samantha Pizzonia, a kindergarten teacher at Westwood.
Motion by Hiller.
Support by Fitzpatrick, and welcome.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Hiller, supported by Mr. Fitzpatrick. Are there any questions? Hearing none, Mr. Hiller,
Hiller, yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Fitzpatrick, yes.
Mr. Barkey,
Barkey, yes.
Mr. Zanetti,
Zanetti, yes.
Ms. Walsh,
Walsh, yes.
Schulte, yes. Motion carried. Child care layoff recall.
Yes, as we continue to recall all of our workers from childcare, we have one recall for you for Elizabeth Apostolatis.
This is Hiller. A motion to approve the recall.
Fitzpatrick supports.
A motion by Mr. Hiller, supported by Mr. Fitzpatrick. Are there any questions?
Yeah, this is Hiller. I had one question for you, Stacy.
Yeah.
Where do we still have more employees on layoff waiting to be recalled? And is there an idea of when that might be able to bring some of them back?
Neil, could you tell us how many we have left?
This is the last one.
Okay.
After this, there will be no more.
Well, that's good news.
So are we at kind of capacity then? Not optimal capacity, but I mean, we've had a call back to meet our requirements by the number of students in the program, right?
Correct.
Okay. So we're kind of back to where we were last year from that standpoint. So that's good to hear. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other questions? Hearing none, Mr. Hiller,
Hiller, yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Fitzpatrick, yes.
Mr. Barkey,
Barkey, yes.
Mr. Zanetti,
Zanetti, yes.
Ms. Walsh,
Walsh, yes.
Schulte, yes. Motion carried. Next would be public expression. Stacy,
All right.
anybody in the queue?
Yes, we have a couple people in the queue, so we will start with the last 4 digits are 5569. I'm going to ask.
You are unmuted.
Hi, this is Tina Ross.
Hi, Tina. Hi, Tina.
Hi. Like I said, my name's Tina Ross, and I'm the AFSCME union president and a proud Warrenwood employee for the last 28 years. I wanted to call in for a couple reasons tonight. First of all, my group has worked very hard ever since this whole mess started last March. And I'm happy to say that we survived all the chaos that ensued in the beginning, along with all of the constant changes. We were all scared like everybody else and worried at times, but we learned to control what we could and have faith in what we couldn't. And for the last couple board meetings, I know people are scared and worried, but listening to all the negativity for the past few board meetings, I really decided it was time to call in and just say thank you to the board and to both Mr. Casaban and Mrs. Denowith. I've watched them work 10 to 15-hour days tirelessly for the past 6 months, doing their absolute best for the students in our community. I don't usually call, obviously, but I really felt it was important I did so now just because of all the negativity, and I felt the board needs to hear something positive about your people, both your administrators and my group. I hope the board knows what a truly dedicated and great team I think Neil and Stacy are. And I believe that my group has done an absolutely amazing job preparing the schools for the return of our students. They're all looking forward to the students coming back, as is everybody else. I was put in charge of distributing all of the PPEs in the district, so I've been very busy. Mr. Casaban has obtained, as you know, all the face shields, masks, gloves, a million wipes and sanitizer, just to name a few of the items, to help keep everyone safe. And I feel because of our combined team efforts, our schools are ready to open. So thank you for that. And finally, my group would also like to say thank you to the board for and Stacy and Neil for the thank you day we received recently. It meant a lot to all of us to be appreciated and acknowledged, and we just want to say that we appreciate all of you right back. So thank you.
This is Mr. Schulte. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You and your team and everything you've done. Stacy has definitely kept all of us on board of commitment, and your team have done for our students and for our district. And we do very much appreciate you letting us know that the team is working together with Mr. Casaban, Denowith, and the entire board and the team. And you're right, it is nice to hear. Thank you. It is nice to hear something positive. And on behalf of the board, we very much to hear that and to hear your comments this evening. So thank you very much, and thank you very much. And the day was well deserved. For you and your folks.
Well, thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much, Tina. We really appreciate it.
Okay, talk to you guys soon. Take care.
Thank you. All right, and the next person we have, the last 4 digits are 8236.
Hello?
I've asked them to unmute. Last 4 digits are 8236. Okay, we'll move on. We have another one here, 5569.
Wasn't that Ross?
Oh, yep, it was. So we'll try one more time for 8236.
Is it technical, Stacy, or are they just not hearing us?
I don't think so. I press the ask to unmute button. So usually in their phone, they'll get a note that says to unmute. 8236.
Well, did they leave their name with us prior to coming on?
They did not.
Okay. Well, if you can hear us, we apologize if there's technical difficulties, but perhaps you can reach out to us after the meeting, or Ms. Denowith if you had a concern, or possibly try and dial in at the next board meeting if it's virtual or face-to-face.
Yeah, so they could send that email to Warren Woods board. That would get to you as well.
Okay. There's nobody else in the queue?
Nope. No one else in the queue?
All right. Then
Do
as
we have
item on
any
our
other?
agenda would be adjournment.
I would like to make a motion that we adjourn.
Walsh supports.
Barkey,
Motion by Barkey, supported by Walsh. Mr. Barkey,
yes.
Ms. Walsh,
Walsh, yes.
Mr. Zanetti,
Zanetti, yes.
Mr. Hiller,
I'm here. Hiller, yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Fitzpatrick, yes.
and Schulte, yes. Motion is carried. We are adjourned for this evening.
Thank you
Thank
very much,
all for your
everyone.
time.
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thank you.